Hello, hello, welcome to Piece of Pat Paints. I'm Pat. I paint little things on the internet. So that's what if that's what you're here for. You're here in the right place. If not, I don't know. Maybe stick around. Maybe it is what you're here for. If you like what we do here, give us a like and a subscribe. All that fun stuff. It's Monday. I'm a little worn out from the weekend, which is as it should be. You should always wear yourself out on the weekends, because I mean, life's short. Enjoy every weekend you get. Warm. Up we go. And there we go. We'll turn that open sign on. So, where's that other button? Boom, that one. Where are we at? Oh, cat's a mess with stuff. That's okay. Should be fine. Should be good. So, we're looking pretty snazzy. I got this. I was working on this guy last night. We got 4 Marines in pretty good shape. 3 Marines left to kind of mess with. Because I spent all my weekend working on Poxwalkers. They look great. Kind of did a look at different hazmat suits to kind of get an idea of what kind of looks we wanted to do. Hello, Sir McBeardsly, good to see you. So this guy did this guy as like almost like a, oh, I guess, what would you call this? Call it a has a name. I'm just not thinking of it. You would call it a lab coat. There we go. Kind of like a lab coat. Thought it would be fun. And then I try to do each of them a little bit different, so that they would have, that way, because you get 2 of the same model, right? And so you try to make them different enough to look, so that they don't just look like the same thing over and over again. You want that with Tyranids. Tyranids, you want them to look like the same over and over and over again. But you want something like this, they want them to look different. So like green hazmat and orange hazmat. It's the same. And then I did like yellow with a blue and blue with yellow, kind of safety colors. This way they'll, like I said, they all, I wanted them kind of look, maybe they were in I don't know, like a factory accident or something like that. I'm pretty sure that is. And then it's just the same variations on the same thing. I also did, let's see, let me find the 2 that is the easiest to see this on. So I made 2 different kind of like skin tones. Because see, on something like this where the loincloth there's not a lot there, right? There's just a little loincloth. One's black, one's white. Well, dark gray, light gray. Either way. One of them, that's the way that, so to make them look different was to give them 2 different like skin tones. So this one's a little bit more of a reddish look, and this is a little bit more of a greenish look. And that way they really have a kind of a difference to them. I did save some of those to look at, so let's do that real quick. Just so so I can get them done and get them out of the way, and I can have all these Poxwalkers out of my way, because there's a lot of them, and they take up a lot of space on the bench. So like, as soon as I can get them out of here, the better. Looks like I got a few things to fix on maybe some flock. Get the flock out of here. Did a real basic flock. Not spending a whole lot of time on that. That way we can spend our time and money on the designs of the actual guys. So they were cool. They're a lot of fun. A little ink in the eyes and stuff like that. Okay. Share. How was everybody else's weekend? Hope you guys had a good one. So I did save 2 Poxwalkers. So this one is done in Winsor Newton Pale Olive with a little bit of Naples Yellow mixed into it, and then Naples Yellow for the horn. And then this one is Pale Terracotta for the flesh, and of course Naples for the horn. Couple things to kind of remember. Where'd my detail brush go? That's a bad way to start. That's okay. We're just trying to get some flush done. Oh, it's right in front of my face. I'm just being a goober. Unless that just like magically appeared there. I'm gonna have to watch the tape back and make sure it was there the whole time. You never know. McBeardsly ran a bunch of errands, got some pet stuff, did the grocery thing, and then went, got stuff to start the new diet. Oh man. That sounds ominous. Alright, so here's the fun thing about this. This is going to be opposite of the way you think. You would think the one that's starting out green is the one that's going to look greener. But that is in fact wrong. This is the one that's going to look redder. So we painted this one green to make it red, and we painted this one pink to make it green. So, yeah. Alright, now after that, we're going to make a little bit of a wash. I should have just enough here to get wet and make it washy. And don't be afraid of this. As long as it's thin enough, you should be good. McBeardsly is going on the Mediterranean diet. That's a classic. It's good stuff. That's good stuff. Yeah, that really helps. The having like some sort of routine helps. One of the best parts about having kids is we're teaching them how to cook things. So like we're trying to teach them how to maintain a kitchen and how to, you know, all those little tiny things, right? So while we're doing that, you really makes you menu plan, because you got to get the kids to kind of, you know, have some input on what they want to eat or whatever. I mean, I guess you don't, but it helps if you want to motivate them, for them to be able to pick out what they're going to cook a little bit if they want to. They will end up usually going, you know, just go wherever. But sometimes they go, hey, I want to try this. Especially like after they've done it for a little while, they're gonna say, okay, so I want to try this. Yeah, structure, portions, it really does help. It'll also like it'll make things way cheaper in the end. You'll outfit your kitchen to produce a certain kind of thing. Oh, it's way easier in keto, and there's more you can eat. The keto stuff, there, you know, they kind of like really bogs down a lot of the things that are fun to eat. But yeah, Mediterranean works alright. But yeah, having some sort of structure, like I said, it'll save you some money too. You'll be surprised how much money you save once you get a diet going. Kristen has a medical dietary need, which we had to also kind of start outfitting a kitchen to do. And like once you do, you get it set up and you get it rolling. It'll make your life. You'll actually makes life a whole lot easier for anybody out there listening. Sir McBeardsly already knows this. I taught him in culinary school, so he already knows how these things work. But for anybody out there that's kind of looking at, what a diet's going to do or anything like that, and I highly recommend, kind of starting a diet and figure stuff out. It helps a lot when it goes to shit, man. Bulk bins, yeah, that's the stuff. That's what we do. Yeah, don't be afraid of those bulk pins, everybody. That's the way to go. Buy your coffee on the bulk and get a little grinder for your house. If you drink coffee, good God, you'll save a lot of money. You'll be shocked how much money you save. We buy potato flakes and all sorts of shit, man. Grains, sugars. Sam's Club is also awesome if you live in the U.S. or anywhere there's a Sam's Club. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the thing is, like, you'd think in culinary school you get fat, but it is exactly the opposite. It goes completely the other direction. You actually eat better because, like, you're eating a regimented meal. You're working on most of the day because you're actually at school, and then you're gonna go to work after that. There's a lot to it. A fly just landed in my coffee. Golly. Well, that ain't no fun. Man. Well, that ruined it. Ugh. I'll be glad when it's winter. We'll be fighting bugs. It's better this year than it was last year. Slowly every year, as we homestead this thing out, it gets a little better. Ugh, that was gross. Ugh. 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 Nasty. Okay, what was I doing? Okay, yeah. Now, this next one. We're going to throw down a raw underwash. Looks like it need a little more. Not quite enough there. Oh, and here comes the never-ending fight of getting the dang paint open. There we go. This one I don't have a gripper for. I need to find a gripper that does these big fat bottles. I really need a palette knife. My birthday's coming up. Maybe I can get somebody to give me one for my birthday. This one kind of works, but it's not really much for us. It's a sculpting tool. I already cooked some stuff yesterday. Hell yeah, hummus. Yes, yes. Another thing is you'll be able to, like, know what to grow next year for your garden. Like, when you have a diet, man, like, you already, like, okay, well, we need these vegetables. It makes it way easier to figure out what you gotta grow, and then, like, you focus your garden, you know exactly, and then you start knowing exactly how much room you need. Getting a little diet together is good, man. It's good for your whole lifestyle. Yeah, for sure. Grow more beans. Yeah, there's lots of good stuff you can grow. Oh yeah, should have done. Hold on, one second. I got a little ahead of myself. I forgot this one has a tentacle. So the tentacles make things just a little bit different. See, because he's got a tentacle here and here. So what we want to do actually is, before we do anything, any washes, we're going to come through and we're just going to add a quick thin coat of crimson, Alzerian crimson here, to wherever there's a tentacle. If you get a little overage, that'll be okay too. So don't stress yourself out too much. The great thing about painting Poxwalkers and Nurglings and things like that is there's a little bit of messiness to it that you can allow, and it looks like part of the show, so to speak. As long as you don't get too crazy. You know, there's a limit, obviously, but now, the thing about making wash is making sure it's thin enough to find the crevices, has enough pigment to leave some coloration. And there's an art to it, to making your own. Okay, so now his hand turns into a tentacle. I did not get that part. I need to do that real quick. Because we actually want to get that dry and drop a raw umber wash on that as well. Man, I'm so disappointed that I put that thing fly landed in my coffee. I was so looking forward to that coffee. So irritating. Okay, I'm over myself. All these models are kind of neat. Did a pretty good job. All right, now get back to business. Here's an example of it being a little too thick. Down there is kind of okay, you know. This kind of does the same idea with our zenithols. Now we're just kind of really upping our contrast, you know. They used to make a I don't even know if they make it anymore. They used to make a product called a contrast paint that would do this really fast if you were trying to just make the contrasts go quickly. For like, I don't know, if you were trying to paint an army really fast to have it ready done, or you weren't very good at painting, so you just wanted to have your stuff look okay and playable. I don't know if they still make those products. There's a couple different uses for them. I don't necessarily have a use for them, but it might be something that other people would need, depending on, you know, exactly what you wanted to do with your style or whatever. It could be a really fun thing, depending on. I'm sure there's a lot of interesting things you could do with them. I'm trying to think of some, but that you couldn't just do if you knew how to change your paint tones and stuff yourself. There's a big thing to be said for that. If you know how to do it yourself, you can really make some difference and changes. Okay. Alright, so now that's got to dry. Back to this one. And now, anywhere we've got kind of boils or the open sores, we're just gonna drop some of this yellow. This is the cadmium yellow. It is medium hue, I believe. Again, this is a fun thing. You can just kind of gently move around through there, and you can pull it a little bit more across it. It doesn't have to be super exact. Give yourself a little bit of fun. There's another wash that goes on top of this, and then that's it. And the skin is done. And it's just a matter of doing the details. Which these little buggers have a ton of. More than you see at first glance too. Like you look at it and like, oh yeah, that's cool. There's a couple details there, no problem. We'll look that up real quick. And you start getting into it and you're like, oh my god, there's a ton of these details in here. See, I even missed part of a leg. Because that happens. Missed the front of his leg. See, because this guy actually looks like this. Pretty gnarly. Okay. used the wrong scheme. You'll be alright. It's just a tiny little bit of leg. Should be just fine. Just get a little bit darker red there. Darken it up just a little bit. Okay. Well, this one's not quite dry yet, is it? Alright, so while that's sitting around, we will move over to working on this, getting some of these plague marines knocked out. Alright, and this is that mix of Naples yellow and olive green. I'm going to try to knock out any highlights we got here with this stuff. Gotta decide if we want to make. Need to decide whether or not I want to make the color on some of these guys. Different color. Come on, have those colors. Now, for the sake of time and speed, we will not. And again, you got to remember, you know, keep within your budget that you quoted. There's a rhythm to all that. You want more details, you got to pay more and more. That's just how that goes. We're already paying pretty good standard anyway. It's gonna look really great. Honestly, it's kind of more of a stylistic choice anyway. Now it'll keep be a lot faster if we do it this way, or trying to add a little bit less of the little blings. So we still have a whole other side of this to go. We still have a whole bunch of regular Marines to paint. I say regular, and they're actually there. We're gonna do Death Watch, so Death Watch is a little cool. A little different. Real popular right now because of the video game. Yeah, what was that? What's the new one that just came out? Space Marine 2 with Titus. Very quickly, just kind of knock out the very edges of these highlights. Also a great chance to make sure you've got coverage on everything that needs to have coverage. Because you're really getting a little bit more attention to detail when you get down to this level. You're just kind of looking at something different, so it gives you, or looking at it all in a different way. And you know, when you just start really putting the first layers on. 100% they'll still doing its job down in here. Really give it some deeper tones. Because even though this is a lighter paint, as it dries, the tones underneath it are going to be darker. So it's going to dry darker than it looks currently. Which is kind of a hard thing to remember, but that's what happens. Not too much paint there. Might be a little too thin too. That happens. Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to breathe. I did start making those little vents of brass, which they looked really, bronze, they looked really good that way, so we're going to do that. That's neither here nor there. At the moment, some nice little tentacles and stuff once you get down here. Okay. Over on the inside as well here. And his little thumb. Alright. My hand fall out for just a second. And again, as you get older, something actually happens to you a little more, but you might have too many as well. If you ever start feeling tingling in your fingertips, go ahead and just chill out for a second. Come back to it. It's really not worth pushing yourself and damaging your hand, because if you're starting to feel numbness, you're damaging your hand. So chill out. Okay. This guy should be nice and dry by now. Yes. Same thing we're kind of with that. yellow hue. This is a cadmium yellow, medium hue. Just anywhere we see the pox, the blight, whatever you want to call it. Kind of keep an eye out for more things we should have done tentacle wise. That looks like a little tentacle there. That's another thing. Once you put that first good little wash on there, you really get a good chance of seeing like even more of those details start kind of popping out. We're just gonna dab it on there. There's not a lot you have to do. You have to worry about with it. This is just starting to set up that infectious look. I'm gonna drop a green on this next. This one's already there. So this is Winsor Newton's sap green. And we're just gonna kind of drop a wash all over it. Which seems very counterproductive until it all sets in. And then you're like, oh, it worked out really well. The green is going to tone through everything. And you can make them more green, less green. You could probably change the green if you wanted it more like yellow. You could go that direction, and you can make it more of a neon green, so they look like they were maybe irradiated a little bit. You have lots of options. That's a real fast, easy way of giving it a nice sickly pallor. Yeah, and you've got two different styles there that are going to kind of use the same stuff in the end. Do have his horns. Nice, easy. You got a great look. Really pallid, gross, disgusting kind of look. You know, it's exactly what we want. All right, so second verse, same as the first. We're just coming in with that same green sap. This is a sap green Winsor Newton product. Thin down real big. And it's strange because this one actually picks up more of the green. and he looks, though these will look greener than the ones that started out green. And it just comes down to that red wash versus the pink flesh tones. They both still have that underneath where it looks like it was definitely flesh at one time. You're just getting two different undertones so that your army doesn't look exact. Not all the pieces look exactly the same, because you're doing a lot of duplication. And where that's going to work with, say, Marines. When we do the Marines, they're going to kind of all look the same. But they're soldiers. They're kind of supposed to all look the same. These are wherever this outbreak happened. A medical facility, or you can make it. The story is a toxic waste facility. Whatever you want. And very, very close, but also very different. Let's see, tentacles are almost dry. I'll show you a little bit of that real quick. Just some things you can do to help these look good. Just drop a little bit of pale terracotta back on top of them, and the different sections. Especially out towards the end, you kind of want to make this let that dry up, and you can drop those same washes on top of all of this, and it'll look great. Be mindful of light sources, Same things we always do. I'm getting a little bit more light on this side than that side, so I'm going to add the light. Let that set up, dry up. Oh. Okay. All right. Back to the Marine. So now, the next step here is we are going to drop a quick run of Hooker's Green. One more round. And that's just going to hit, we're just keeping up with those highlights, really starting to bring them back down. After this, we're going to toss on a umber and then an oil wash. Well, not really an oil wash. I guess it kind of is. It's oil paint wash, like grime, my nitty gritty. That's grimy goo. It's not even really gooey though. I don't know why I would say grimy goo. I'm just being weird, I guess. Sometimes you just when you're doing these YouTube things, you start talking to yourself, and you're like, what the hell am I even saying? And before we throw down that grind wash, we're going to want to come through here and do all of our metallics, though. So we got a ways to go. That's why it's good to kind of keep your color palettes the same. That way you can kind of flip back and forth between what you're doing. Keeps you moving and keeps the paint rolling. It kind of keeps you from getting bored too, especially if you got a. That's one of the fun things about this particular army. It's kind of hard to get bored with these guys because they're all so different. When we get into the other Marines, they'll be a little bit. It gets a little boring sometimes because it's just the same over and over and over again. Which we might break out the airbrush for that guy. Probably not on camera. I don't like really doing airbrush on camera because I don't like the sound of it. My mic already barely picks me up. I don't need to add to that frustration. Even with the new mic, I think it's more of. I think there's a thing with the delivery, just because I'm out in the country, so it doesn't. I think there's something to do with the Wi-Fi, and less to do with me and my microphone. Although who knows? All right, that needs to dry. Just go dry over here. Just gonna put just a little bit of raw umber wash just to kind of. Ooh, that's a little too much. A little too. There we go. And that's just going to help us tone some of this down just a little bit. Make it look more real. Get a little bit to that. Spike coming out of his arm. Ah, stop. Around. I guess that's his arm. It's a muscle. I was about to turn it pink. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is start doing the leather bits and the details. I'm gonna take just a little Naples. I'm just gonna kind of outline this area that I want to bring back to a leathery kind of color. And this is just because I'm going to use a burnt sienna here, and it doesn't necessarily always show up well on certain colors. If it's a dark color, you are not going to see a whole lot of this. So here, where it's got plenty of highlights from our zenithal, we're going to be able to get that in there really easily. But if anywhere where it's too dark, you're not going to see it at all. So you want to add a little bit more of a highlight, something, an undercoat, just to get it going. When you get experience with that, you can make that line look, because I picked it up right where the light's kind of going to hit it, so it'll help kind of work with the, but that takes a little bit of experience, so don't be afraid if you mess it up the first couple times. It's almost dry. Probably do another drop right on those parts to it, but there we go. Didn't do his foot. Look. Ugh. Poxwalkers. A pox on you, Poxwalkers. And then, you know, your metallics are going to be metallics and stuff like that. You can get the idea from there, I'm sure. But yeah. Two very different Poxwalkers. We've got Marines flying out off the presses. I'm going to probably try to knock out the rest of these Marines. We'll have them pretty close to done by tomorrow when I get back on. And then hopefully we're on to the these two guys. This guy still got to put together, which this will be fun. I actually want to take a look. I want to show you guys a little bit of more of the details on this one, on how to do guts when we get to here. So we'll do these two guys probably midweek, and then I guess I'll probably keep working on this one while we do those two as well. We'll take a look at this and knock this out. And then I want to try to finish with working on this guy Thursday or Friday. We'll see how it all turns out. But these guys are a whole lot neater than the regular Marines. But we might get into the regular Marines too as we kind of finish him up. But anyway, there we go. 54 minutes. Yeah. Start pulling it all together. Getting it all shut back down for a second. Well, I'll say goodbye, everybody. So there you go. Well, thanks for everybody who stopped by and watched these shows. I know a lot of people watch them live and don't necessarily have anything to say, which is great. And then I know a lot of people watch it after we come on, which is super cool. And that's awesome. Of course, if you ever anything, questions or anything you want to lay down, comments, stuff like that, I love comments. I love questions. It's really it makes this seem more like, you know, I'm part of some sort of community, I guess. I don't know. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but it's fun. It's a good dopamine hit. I really enjoy it. Yeah. That's about all I got. It's Monday, so you know, I'm sure by the end of the week we're gonna have a lot more to talk about. That's how it always goes, isn't it? Be good to yourselves. Be good to somebody you don't know. Be good to somebody. Just be good to people. We need a lot of that. I've been saying that for a while. I'm gonna keep saying it. It's just be good to each other. Give each other a little bit of space. Say, you know, like what is this thing about? If you really need to drive 20 miles over the speed limit to get somewhere, you probably should have started out a little earlier. And if you are in that position, try to be nice to the people around you, so that because they're not necessarily in that big of a hurry. So, you know, just be nice. Anyway, I love y'all. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you tomorrow.